that one's not good, there's always this one.
Done.
I'm ready to get my deer.
Oh, hell yeah. If I had just put this in above the pecker right here, done this.
One slice.
Whoop, there's the rib cage.
Would have got it all done.
Jesus. But yeah. So yeah, something a little more contoured to this blade.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, how y'all doing?
I mean, that could probably work. That's what I've done with belts before. Close enough. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, hold on, people.
Turn it sideways. There you go.
Fuck does that look like to you? What kind of knife is this?
The kind you penetrate with.
Oh, yeah. Are you drawing the veins?
There you go.
You want the loop here and another loop here?
Yeah.
See, you didn't want anything. You didn't want anything up in this area.
No,
right?
well, the gut buster's right here, and oh, back here is where the lip is.
Right.
Hunting is fun, folks. Oh, hey, welcome to the show. Or you already said that. Way to make shit awkward.
Well, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, because I'll have the boy sharpen this throughout the week.
Holy shit.
He's got to get better at sharpening.
I got a sharpening stone in there.
That's the one that sucks.
In there, there's a tool you can get for that.
I know.
It's like $25 on Amazon.
Yeah.
Because I actually almost picked one up for some of my stuff working in here. It looks like a little thimble. Should be able to get one. I wonder if I can get one for the Dremel to actually sharpen stuff like that.
You can get grit tips.
I have some, but that's more for grinding.
They make
Coarse.
so you know files, right?
Yeah.
They make like they almost
They're
look like
in
stick
the
welds.
computer.
They almost look like stick welds. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They make files like that, which are actually they make sharpening files like that for that. Old school.
Cool.
What time is it? 9:07. How are we doing, folks?
Jeez.
So we found out the election results this morning.
This morning?
Yeah.
It was like 4
Today's
days
only
ago.
Wednesday.
This is 4 days ago. The hell are you talking about? This guy's... I don't know. So...
2B.
It was a landslide.
B4. 4B. B2.
Did you see the 4B movement? I wasn't going to get to that yet, but let's just go fucking...
No, fuck it.
Oh, wait. Well, first, the election. We'll just go the election in order. Because we'll do this in context. We're not going to Tarantino this. So, the election. We wake up. They called it like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. 2:77 to 2:24. It was like 2:30. It was like almost 3 o'clock in the morning when the alert chimed on my phone.
Yeah. It was... I woke up like...
He broke 270. Game over.
Yeah.
Put the phone back down, went back to sleep.
I woke up like 3 times that night. One, it was just because there was like a stretch of 3 days where I was like waking up every couple hours.
Yeah.
But then I was also like jacked up because of the election. So like, what the fuck's going to happen? So
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I woke up at like 12:30 and it was like 218 to 268. And I'm like, man, that's like fucking 2-way. And I put the phone down, woke up again, I get like 2. And I just looked again, it was like 222 to 268. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I woke up at 4 and I look, it was like 222 to 268. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, we were watching it live, just like the numbers just go and go and go. And then suddenly it just stalls at midnight. But pretty much when Trump jumped out, at one point we were watching, and it was like 19-3, and really didn't turn around after that. Like, he didn't look back. He jumped out early lead, and it was like a sporting event. It was like, oh man,
It was a horse race.
Yeah, he jumped out to that early lead, and it was over. It was over right from the get go.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, oh, if he wins Pennsylvania, and he ended up getting Pennsylvania. Well, he got Georgia while we were watching, and then he got Pennsylvania. And like, it's over. It's done. There was points where I put in that highlight video where left-wing media was like, oh, well, let's see. You got Pennsylvania, and then they had, I think, 7 states or 8 states left over, and they're like, if Kamala takes this, and this, like, they gave her all the leftover states, and it was 268. Like, she still wouldn't have had enough to get 270. It was like, the desperation and media's just tone, and the shock and the left-wing voting base, it was something to behold. Not so much the media, because they're going to be like, oh, well, let's see. It was desperation for them because they knew the bullshit they had been spewing for the weeks prior finally came to a head. And the voter base was like, what the fuck just happened? I thought she was supposed to, like, this was supposed to be a landslide the other way. And that just showed everybody, no, like, this is what everybody's been talking about for so long. One, your candidate is fucking propped up. And she's horrible. She was horrible 4 years ago. This is what everyone's been saying. This person is fucking terrible for this position. And it showed.
Well, fun fact, he won the popular vote.
Yeah.
And the electoral vote.
So now
he can't run again, but he's the best candidate for the next election, apparently.
It's not even that. It's all right. So the Democrats have screamed. There's a couple things they want to do. One, the Democrats want to get rid of the electoral process because 2016, when Trump won in 2016, he won. It was like 62 million some votes to 65 million votes Hillary got. But he won the Electoral College, so he was president. Mm-hmm. And since then, Democrats are like, we need to get rid of the electoral process. And that's why they're like, our democracy, and that's why they were pushing that narrative for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So that's why they wanted to get rid of that. This time, he won the popular vote and the Electoral College, and it wasn't even fucking close. So now what? Now that narrative is like, okay, you want to get, like, there is no argument anymore like there was 8 years ago.
The only thing I can say is I understand what the electoral is for. Do I think it should be revised? Yes.
How would it be revised?
So, how is the electoral... Well, answer me this. How is... Because then I can explain my answer. How is the electoral vote decided?
It's like one electoral vote per... I think it's like 720,000 people or something to that effect per state. So, obviously, the more people you have in your state, the more electoral votes your state has. That's why, like, Montana has, 3 or 2 or whatever it is, and New York has 28, Texas has 40. You know, that's how that works.
So let's say...
It's instead of having the people directly affect the president, this is your checks and balances. It's a representative who the people vote on. Those people represent the people, and then the president represents them, top down, or in this case, bottom up.
So let's use stupid numbers, okay? Let's say there's 1 million people in the state of the Crystal Lake.
Mm-hmm.
The state of Crystal Lake. There's 1 million fucking voters. So they get, what, one electoral... Basically, I forget it. So... The point I'm trying to make is I think the electoral vote should be almost broken down to a factor system. So, like, because what's New York? What color is New York?
Blue.
Why? Because of 4 cities?
Yeah, population density.
95 fucking percent of this state is red.
Mm-hmm.
5% of it's blue. But because 10 million people...
Sort of.
We'll do stupid numbers then. 10% of this state is fucking blue. 90% is red. But because 10 million of the people in this state live in only certain areas, they all vote blue. The other 5 million people in the state are overpowered. So, what I mean by I think the electoral should be revised, New York has how many?
28.
28, okay. So if New York has 28 electoral votes, divide it into 3 categories. Some electoral votes go to whoever wins the popular vote. Some electoral votes go towards who wins the most counties. So instead of, because New York is a perfect example of where I think the electoral college needs to be revised.
How would that work in an election? Like, you lost me. Like,
So-
how that would actually work.
So how that would actually work is you could have it would take the color away from the states. There'd be no more red and blue states. And I say it'd be like this because let's say, like, did you see California?
Mm-hmm.
It like the last couple of elections it was mostly blue. Now this year it was mostly red.
2020
California.
started to shift, and this year is 38% voted for Trump, California, which is really remarkable.
Yeah. So you got these
44% in New York voted Trump.
So you got, but there's still a fucking whatever. If you sat there and went to every state and said, look, these are the 3 categories where now these electoral votes are going to be divided into. You got your popular vote, you got your county vote, and you've got...
But wouldn't the county and the popular vote both go hand in hand?
No.
Because, how not?
Because if you've got, let's say there's 10 million, let's say there's 20 million people living in New York.
Right.
Let's say 10 of them live in NYC.
Okay.
Then you've got 2-3 million. It's 8 million. Okay, sorry. You got 8 million living in New York. You got between Buffalo, Syracuse, and there was one more city that voted blue. That was more blue. I think it was Albany.
Albany, Syracuse,
And
Rochester. Buffalo.
Okay, so between
And actually, there was up north near Potsdam or something like that, too. But
forget Potsdam. So these 4 fucking cities made up the last 2 million voters
right.
that made it a perfect 50-50. So nobody gets the popular vote there.
Okay.
So now you look at the counties. Look at the fucking counties. 90 fucking % of this state is red.
That's true, but the only problem I see with that is now you're lessening the people's voice in the cities and strengthening the people's voice in the counties. And I don't mean doing that in a manner where that evens out. Now you're doing the exact same thing, but in the opposite direction.
Oh.
Because now the people, like a majority of the counties in New York are red, but most of the people in New York vote blue. So now you're telling me that because of those counties are red, the people who vote blue in New York, they don't matter now.
Well,
Because
no. That's where it's like the popular vote, the numbers votes. So let's say perfect 20 million people in New York State.
all right.
10 million and 1 people vote blue. Well, guess what? That's the popular vote now.
Okay.
There's your electoral votes.
Okay.
Oh, 90% of the counties in New York are red. Here's your electoral votes.
So what would you do? Split the 28 up, 14-14?
Yeah. Or figure out a 3rd category or 4th category. Come up with divisions to where the states are actually represented on every level now.
I feel like I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that would complicate it in an already complicated process. Like the people right now complain so much about the electoral and the democratic system in our voting process. Like the whole reason why the electoral process is there is because we are not a democracy, which is constantly screamed.
Yeah,
Because it's not, because if it was 51% voted for the other 49%, that would be horrible. It would be horrible.
But that's where like my it was just an idea. I'm not saying this is going to be the way.
Yeah, I get it, but like I don't.
This is an idea, but it does come down. It does. I can't. I understand what the electoral vote is for.
Right.
I don't think it's a perfect system.
No,
I think it
well,
needs to be revised.
It's the best we got.
I think we could do better.
Probably much like the president. It's perfect message, wrong messenger. It's the best we got.
I think we could do better. I think if we actually spent the billions of dollars that we wasted overseas, here and there, whatever the case may be, on actually coming up with a system that appealed, I guess, not appealed, that was able to take in all the factors of a fair election.
Yeah.
Whether you're red or blue or green or central, whatever color, it takes in your vote no matter what. Because Kamala could have won this election. And then what would we have done? Well, is what it is. She's our president. I'm not a blue, even though I live in a blue state, even though I feel this state's mostly red, but because of the density of the population in NYC, we never really get heard. I feel like I'm not heard. In a state that's a majority red.
But you see, that's the problem is, like you said, 44% of New York's voter base went toward Trump.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people in New York feel that way and don't vote. I honestly think if everybody voted whatever way they wanted to vote, the state wouldn't be blue. It might be purple. It might swing either because every state might be a swing state if that was a case. Well, most states, like Texas, is not fucking going. I don't see that. Florida, though, is case in point. Florida's red now. Florida was a Democrat state for a long time.
Yeah, Trump won. I think it was Dade County. Is what they said. Miami or Dade County.
Yeah, it was Miami.
First fucking time presidents won that county.
And I don't know how many
since
decades.
Reagan's first run.
Yeah. But
40 fucking years.
Yeah. So I don't.
Name the president since Reagan.
Since Reagan, Bush Sr., Clinton,
Bush Jr.,
then Obama. Then
Trump.
Can you name who they ran against?
Reagan ran against Nixon. Bush Sr. ran against. Fuck. Nobody remembers the losers.
I remember some of them verbatim, like Mitt Romney. That was one.
That was Bush Sr.
And then
Clinton was
Bush Romney
Jr.
was Obama.
Yeah, okay,
that was 2012. I
Bush
believe.
Jr. was Gore. Clinton was
the first time. The second time was Kerry, 2004. That was against John Kerry.
John Kerry. Yep, I remember him.
His long face, fucking.
When did Tim McCain? When did he?
John McCain?
No. Tim.
Tim Dillon? That's a comedian.
No, there was another fucking Tim something that ran whatever.
I don't know, but going back,
Sorry.
So yeah, Kamala. So Trump won the popular and the electoral vote.
You mean Kamala?
Yep. So now they're whole screaming we need to get rid of the electoral process because of popular votes. Oh, we win the popular vote, but that argument isn't there this time.
No,
What'd be interesting now is when Biden's still president. Before the election, the Democrats wanted to get rid of the electoral process for this reason. Well, for the prior reason. 2, they wanted to stack the Supreme Court, add more seats, so they could put more Democrats in there. The problem is now, with the Senate, the House, and the presidency,
more red than blue.
if they stacked it, that would just work against the Democrats. They also wanted to get rid of the filibuster, which means the filibuster gives people in Congress, gives the minority a voice, so bills have to pass by 60-40. If they got rid of the filibuster, 51. It would be 51 votes.
Majority
in
vote.
the Senate, not the House. Yeah, that would be majority. Again, democratic process, what they scream about. Now, if we get rid of the filibuster, that would screw over the Democrats again, heavily. So, my question is, and this is proposed, maybe we just give the Democrats what they want. Give them it's like our olive branch. It's like, here, extend our peace. We'll give you what you want. We'll get rid of the filibuster. We'll stack the Supreme Court, and we'll get rid of the electoral process. which would all now completely just blow up in their face. Obviously, I don't think we should get rid of any of that, just for the reason, like, when, say, like, this happens, you get rid of the filibuster in the Senate, now you're fucked. 60%? Fuck me! How am I going to get that? But I just, I don't think sometimes they think these things through. The same reason why when we went through the Patriot Act, I'm like, this is a bad idea. And sure enough, it came back and bit Republicans in the ass 15, 20 years later. Like, oh, fuck. But, and now, left-wing media is just losing their fucking mind.
You hear...
Losing their mind. Well, first, the first things that were put across were like, well, America wasn't ready for Kamala. That was like the first thing. Like the next day, they were saying, oh, America is not ready for Kamala. And they said, oh, this... Yeah, they said America was like racist. That was another one.
Yeah.
Which I thought was an interesting take.
You hear Joey Behar is she's not under scrutiny, but a lot of people are like,
again, bullshit.
So she was on The View and made the remark, accept this, protest if there's a reason to protest, and there will be.
Speaking of Joy Behar, I just saw today that I guess The View isn't renewing her or Whoopi Goldberg's contract because they're considered too toxic. So if that has anything to do with that, that would kind of coincide with that and be like, this, if you want to talk about like a call to arms or calling for violence, only protest if there is a reason, and there will be.
Yeah,
I did see that. Like when it boils down to it, like Democrats, they ran on made up issues. One, like the abortion ban.
Yeah,
that was never a thing. It never has been a thing. Project 2025 is another one. That was never a Trump thing. That was a Heritage Foundation.
Very debunked.
Like, yeah, that was a Heritage Foundation, and really, Project 2025 is like a fucking email, like an email, like a mail list, with like, listen, this person should be put here to do this, and he's got these ideas, and this person should be put here to do this because he's got these ideas. That's what that boiled down to.
Okay. Nope.
And Trump said he'd already vetoed that, like an abortion ban bill. He said it on multiple occasions.
How you feel? I'll start. My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree
did hear
with the
this.
decision that Americans made. But I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon.
Which I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
So people are like, wait, what do you mean? What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
You're telling people to protest because there's going to be a reason. What's the reason?
They're already starting the whole rhetoric. They're just ramping it back up. The whole racist thing. But like, just it didn't stop. The election ended, and they're just like, all right, we'll just full steam ahead in what we've already been doing.
Yeah.
But this whole thing also, like, it gave. There's this narrative going around right now because they're like, how come all these went like 52% of was it 51 or 52% of women, white women, voted for Trump? So the narrative was going around, like on The View and MSN, your normal shitholes, that the reason is because these were uneducated women. I'm like, oh, wow. Here we go. But what it did was they catered to like educated, higher privileged women, right? So they created issues, abortion bans and stuff like that, for these educated women who might make over 100,000 or so a year, to make them feel like the oppressed lesser class, to make them feel like, no, they're not up here, you're actually down here. So they rally behind something. And then when the regular person was like, well, I'm not that, so fuck you, I'm voting the other guy, then they wonder why. Also, what happened is men. There's another one. Men, Hispanic, black, white,
Oh,
you name
they
it.
went
Jewish.
off the wall on them.
They all, of course they did, voted Trump. Big majority in all demographics. What's also funny is that, again, these same places, this left-wing media, are like, where'd all the men? Why'd they vote for Trump? Where'd they all go? Don't you want to stand up for women's rights? I'll tell you this right now. You wonder where all the men went. Why they didn't protect women and protect our daughters and all this bullshit that you've been spewing for the last few years. Because in that same time frame, all you have done is just fucking run men up and down and just completely belittle them, demasculate them, run us through mud and everything else. Bear or man in the woods.
Oh,
Case in
yeah.
point. Case in point. And then you wonder why none of us show up to defend you from the fascist, racist, Nazi, or whatever the fuck you're going to label him, or us for that matter. I spent the last probably better part of 3.5 years being called anti-vax, uneducated, anti-abortion,
Anti-women, anti-America.
Anti-America, anti-woman, racist, fascist, Nazi, neo-Nazi, whatever the fuck. I go to work, I come home, I have my hobbies, and that's it. But I'm all these other things to you and your voter base. And then you wonder why me and everyone like me, just regular people, don't show up for you? Because fuck you. Pretty simple if you ask me. But you sit
don't
on your
get-
panel and you try to figure that out. Spend millions of dollars doing whatever fucking research you need to do. But I'm telling you right now, it's because fuck you.
You don't get to trash us and say, you better vote for us, because if you don't, you're everything we say you are.
This is also...
But if I am what you say I am, I won't vote for you. Correct. So I should vote for you because then I'm not that stuff. But you say I am. Okay, I'm voting for the other guy.
This is also... The View is also the one where I think it was Joy Behar, actually, who... At one point in one of the episodes, do we really need men? Things like that. Like none of this should be a shock. Like, none of this across the board should be a shock. And yet you watch the media and it's like, where are we? What are we doing? And you have cucks like fucking, what's his face? Jimmy Kimmel and shit crying. Like,
Did you see him on the
I
fucking
did see
show
it.
crying?
I saw the whole thing. Like, talking about a fucking cuck is like, my wife's boyfriend. Once he's done.
No, not that one. Like Jimmy Kimmel does.
Yeah, I know. Jimmy Kimmel was crying on his show. And
Yeah. And there was that dude at a meltdown in Texas because he has to watch his wife make
That
love
was
to her
fake.
boyfriend.
That was fake. That was fucking hilarious, though.
Oh, it was so good though.
If that was not fake, that was like the quintessential, stereotypical, what right-leaning or even like moderate comedians or just regular people, comedians, that's the view that they like to joke about of the extreme left, the progressive left. So if that's real, it's like, this is what we're talking about. But I 99.9% sure that was just a fucking fake. Because it was fucking hilarious. I watched it. I'm like, I started like, this is going to be a real thing. Because you've seen like videos start off that way. Like, you elected a Nazi. Now I have to watch my wife from people. It's uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, that's fucking fake.
I have to watch my wife make love to her black boy, her African American boyfriend.
No, I think it's Hispanic. It's like Emmanuel or
Armando.
Armando, yeah. that's what
He's black, of Puerto Rican descent.
Yeah.
And he has to watch his wife make love to him from the closet for fear that her reproductive rights are going to be infringed upon. A bullshit?
Yeah. During this whole election, though, like Kamala did have an answer for white guys, for white males, right? Because they were the one who were like, man, we're fucking, they hate us. This is another example of like, what's that meme where you see like that Democrat or the fucking whatever progressive push over the stick figure. We go, then you get a bunch of like the regular people help them up, and it says right above them, and then they're like, why are you over there with them? It's like, it's because you fucking went crazy. Like, it's pretty simple. But Kamala's answer for this whole thing was white dudes for Harris. Here's your safe space to be a racist over here. Like, I'm serious. Like, there was T-shirts. There's a fucking one, the fat ass guy that's like, I can't believe it's got white dudes for Harris. So those fucking stupid commercials that they ran before the election, like, was that 3-4 weeks ago, whatever it was, like.
Oh, I'm a man, and I'm not afraid.
I eat carburetors for breakfast. Like, what? What are you talking about? Stop it!
Oh God!
Everything you're doing, don't. Like their campaign was so fucking bad. It's incredible. Like, I don't know if Trump's campaign was just awesome or their campaign was so bad. It's like, you know, when you get that average looking girl, but she's next to a fucking train wreck, and you're like, wow, she's pretty good. And then, like, you see her again in a grocery store around, like, just regular people, like, what do they call it? Warehouse hot? There you go. Like, was it like, was
my penis in that?
Was Kamala Harris, was her campaign, like, or was rather Trump's campaign warehouse hot, or was it just fucking good?
I want to say it was warehouse. It was, oh, fuck.
Like, just thinking about it, knee-jerk reaction, I would like to say it's a little of both.
Yeah.
Because he said some things like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Agreed.
And then other things, it was like a home run, like grand slam. Like, whoever I think who he's going to have as his attorney general or whatever. No, not attorney general. I can't remember.
Chief of staff?
Maybe that's what it was.
The woman?
Yes.
Yeah, chief of staff.
Yeah, the one who's running his campaign. Like, she was like, whoever was telling him was like, listen, you got to go on Joe Rogan. And how Kamala Harris fucking made it at all difficult to go on Joe Rogan, because Joe himself even said, I just want to have a conversation with her. Not politics, just talk. If she had gone on and just talked about whatever, that would have humanized her. That would have given her a bigger chance than what she got. The fact that Trump and JD Vance and Elon Musk and like his whole team at one point or another, especially this close to the election, all went on there. Like, everyone, even if they weren't sure, because if you were progressive left, you were not voting for Donald Trump. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah, no.
But if you weren't sure and you're like, well, I don't know about Kamala Harris. All I hear is that like Trump or Joe invited her on and she's like, I don't know, like hemming and hawing about it. But then Trump goes on and has a 3-hour conversation. And after the first hour, it gets fucking good. Speaking
of progressive, real quick side note. I won't go into the details, but you remember the circus, the Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what the most iconic phrase from that is?
The greatest show on earth?
The whole part.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
children of all ages, D Generation X proudly brings to you it's 8-time WWE Tag Team Champions of the World. Sorry, Attitude Era Kid. Sorry. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the show. The greatest show on earth, or something like that. I have experienced it now. It's changed.
What is it now?
It's.
I mean, whatever if it changed, but
it's like a 2-minute intro song about how it's the greatest show on earth. It doesn't say any of that stuff anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and I guess it's recent because I asked. I'm like, when did that change? Oh, not too long ago. Probably within the last couple of years. I'm like, that makes sense.
I mean,
they took ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages out of the intro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, like, if they just change it, like, who gives a shit?
Oh, no, it's not in there at all anymore. It's a song talking about, welcome, folks, to the greatest show on earth.
Folks. I'm not a folk.
It's like, are you ready for a show? Everybody in attendance, welcome, folks, to the greatest show on earth.
When'd you go, today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I hyped up the midget for like, this is my favorite. This is like one of my most favorite parts.
One of the 10 baby-sized teens.
Yes. I'm like, this is one of my favorite parts. Like, I want you to hear it. You're gonna love it.
Welcome. That's it.
Although the ringmaster, I'm pretty sure she was the ringmaster. She fucking could sing though.
Ringmaster.
She actually sang.
Oh my God.
Big Wheels Keep on Turning by Tina Turner.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she did a good job.
Tell me it was.
She even did the ooh, 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 and she's still like tapping the heel, like bopping her ass. I was like, oh God, Tina, you're alive in her hips. I love you.
You were
Fuck
reincarnated.
you. Tina Turner, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. That bitch was hot. The fucking power in that costume. Oh, thank you, preteen puberty. Oh, I was able to experience a whole lot of new bodily functions thanks to her.
And,
Like crying
crying.
out my penis.
Anyway.
But yeah, progressive.
Yeah. No.
If you were
But-
progressive left, you weren't going to vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah, but the state by state voting, it really was kind of remarkable to show out. Like I said, 44% voted Trump in New York, 38 in California.
Yeah.
It was. I think it showed. It should have showed the left. Not the left. We'll say Democrats. What they're doing is not working. And I think if the Democrats are smart, they'll drop the whole identity politics thing and go, listen, we're way the fuck down the wrong road. Like, eventually we have to turn around. Otherwise, we're going to tank this whole thing. And granted, the Democrats and Republicans now are not what they used to be 20 years. Like, there's a whole two. These two, they are both just in name Democrat and Republican. Like, now Republican is pretty much this glorified independent, like, disenfranchised libertarian party with some Republicans and conservatives mixed in with it. Mm-hmm. And the Democrats are this like ultra progressive party. Like it's not what it used to be.
Instead of left and right, Republican and Democrat, it should just be north and south, progressive and conservative.
Yeah, but
Are you the up party or the down party? I don't know, man. What kind of party does cocaine go to?
you know what I can't figure out?
They go to the up party.
I
I'm
saw-
going there.
I saw a video of all the actors, or a lot of the actors from the Avengers.
Oh,
Did you see that? And they're like, yeah, we got to come up with like I'm down with democracy. Are you? It's like, yeah, down with democracy. And I'm like, is that real? Like, are they that clueless? Or was this like a dig on Kamala Harris and democracy? Because I'm not fucking sure. They're all from Hollywood. They could all be fucking dumb.
and acting.
I don't know. Like, I'm watching, I'm like, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't put it by Hollywood, because they are very left leaning in Hollywood, to put something out thinking this is good, and then just being completely just a tank.
Trolls 2.
That was fantastic. They're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my god! But that was better than.
I'm in Nilbog.
Nope. Yeah.
It's goblin backwards.
It would have taken like an hour to figure that out. I mean, in movie time.
And the worst part is, the movie's called Trolls.
Yeah, I know. That didn't. Whatever.
Even as a kid, I was like, wait a minute. That's not right. And why does it gotta be green stuff? Why can't it be like period red?
But did you see that after the fact? I guess he has a second list out, but Trump had a list of his plans, what he's going to do. And,
Must be nice fuckers who make overtime.
well, yeah, here's the thing. So, Trump, let me see if I can find a whole list of it.
Oh yeah. Oh, leaning too far. Damn it. Oh, I'll just do the show.
see. Okay, yeah, here we go. Here's a list of some of the stuff. Mass deportation of 11 million undocumented
Project
immigrants.
Aurora.
All right.
He
Closing.
plans on, really quick, he plans on a severely mass deportation, which is going to, many of you fuckers at home might not know this, but it's going to be hard because Clinton definitely set the bar high on that one. Remember, what was it, like 14 million?
Wasn't Clinton, it was Obama.
No.
Obama was
During the Clinton administration.
Obama was the deporter in chief. That's what they called him. He had the most amount of deportations under his
I
presidency.
thought Clinton had more.
Obama.
Whatever. Regardless, he's got some
You know,
big shoes.
the fucking golden child, Obama.
But, yeah, Project Aurora, mass deportation, any illegal immigrants caught in America that have, like, committed murder on anybody,
Yep.
including, like, law enforcement, first responders, you name it, automatic death penalty.
Yep.
I can't say I disagree. I mean,
No, absolutely not. They shouldn't fucking be here anyway.
I agree.
They're already criminal aliens.
People are going to say,
Right.
oh, they're seeking asylum. Okay, there's a process to do it legally.
Right.
People are going to say, well, they're in fear for their life. There's still an emergency process to do it legally.
Right. So yeah, he's got the immigration, which you were just talking about, and then the abortion. It says Trump played down abortion as a second-term priority, even as he took credit for the Supreme Court ending a woman's federal right to terminate a pregnancy and return abortion regulation to state governments. Trump's
I can't.
GOP platform, for the first time in decades, did not call for a national ban on abortion. Trump maintains that overturning Roe v. Wade is enough on a federal level. Here's the thing, too, that I think a lot of people just kind of miss. So, on a federal level, if we control something like abortion on a federal level, that means we can control something like abortion on a federal level in the opposite sense. Okay? So, if the U.S. government is controlling something like that, there's nothing to say that they can't go in on their own terms and turn that around and control it on a federal level. State level, it should be controlled state level. So if you want abortion in your state, and most people do, then you can vote on it, and there, lo and behold, you'll have it. Here's the one thing I don't agree with that they're doing, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense. They're charging people that go from one state to another to get an abortion with a crime when they come back.
I don't agree with that.
That's fucking stupid. So you're telling me, okay, state to state, they can have their own rules. But if you go to this state to get an abortion in that state and then go back to where you live, now you're charged as a criminal? That's fucking retarded.
I agree.
Like, that's stupid.
100%.
Get rid of that, and the rest will be fine. Like, to me, there would be no argument. Like, sorry, there's not an argument here. So
Leave it at a state level. Don't prosecute people seeking health care. Because whether you think it's murder, whether you think it's a woman's choice, doesn't matter.
Right.
Whatever the case may be that caused the pregnancy, rape, incest, a genuine drunken mistake, I've always maintained a woman's choice is a woman's choice. But in the same breath, if a woman can choose to do what she will, a man should be able to choose what he will.
right.
So, I mean, I heard something along the lines, maybe you could fact check this, but I heard something about how they're planning on, one of the ways to approach this is, all right, fine, if you want unanimous control across the country, or a unanimous decision to allow abortion to any extent in all 50 states that comprise the United States of America, that's fine, but they want to write the policy now. Like I said, this is a TikTok I saw. I don't know if it's true or not. They want to write the policy now where, okay, if a woman chooses to abort, then a woman chooses. If a woman wants the right to choose to abort a child, a fetus, then a man should be able to. If he does not wish to be a part of that child's life, he should not be held legally responsible.
I think we've talked about that.
We've talked about it before, but now I guess there's something in the works. Like I said, I don't know how true it is, But now this is like that concept is now starting to reach
And that was actually from Dave Chappelle.
a legislative level.
That was Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
There again, why he's the GOAT. He just makes an offhanded joke with some thought behind it, and that got, like, including me, that
Planted the
like
seed.
go, he's not wrong. Like if a woman, if a man wants this kid, like this is my son/daughter, whatever, in the worst way, and the woman's like no, and gets rid of it, and the guy can't say a word, then the flip side, the guy should be able to go, no, not my responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming this. Like that's only fair because same reasons. Like I don't want the financial burden. I'm not ready.
Which I
It doesn't mean it's good and like moral, but if you're gonna have it one way, it's got to be the other. Like if we're gonna talk about equality, it's got to be the other.
yeah, no, I agree. I'm sorry.
I
This might make
personally
me sound
don't
like a
agree
bad-
either way, but whatever.
Yeah, you're pro life.
Yeah. Safe, rare, legal, and rare. The way it was before. Like,
I-
when you have your crazy-ass fucking instances, yeah, sure. But, like, when we're talking about in some states where they're going, like, week 19, I changed my mind. Like,
See, but
I'm not, no.
I can agree with you being pro-life past a certain point, up to a certain point,
Right.
or after a certain point.
Yeah, after a certain point, sure. Like I said, once you
can't-
get, like, week 6, 7, 8, that's early on, I guess. That's and at that point, it's not that I'm
well,
like...
first trimester is 3 months, so 12 weeks.
Right. At that point, it's not that I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, that's nothing to do with me. I don't get pregnant. But when you get into like the end of the second trimester and the third trimester, no. Like,
Late term abortion. is what you're
absolutely
referring
not.
to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't be more against that.
At that point, I think I have to agree with you because albeit partial, almost near not viable to live on its own, it is a human life at that point, you know, because it is developed, it has brain function, it has organ functions, all that, et cetera, et cetera. But I will always maintain pro-choice. And if it comes down to it, I'm sorry, this might make me sound like an asshole, but if it was all or nothing, I'd have to remain pro-choice, regardless of what extent the term abortion might be under, only because, like I've always maintained, no one has the right to tell me what to do with my body. I can't infringe that right upon somebody.
Well, they
that
tried
rule on somebody
4
else.
years ago.
What do you mean?
They definitely tried with mandates. And
Oh, yeah, they
vaccine
tried.
passports and all that kind of bullshit. That's a
I'll
whole other.
always be pro-choice. Sorry.
Trump's tax policy broadly tilt toward corporations and wealthy Americans. That's mostly due to his promise to extend his 2017 tax overhaul, with a few notable changes that include lowering the corporate income tax to 15% from the current 21%. That also involves rolling back Democratic President Joe Biden's income tax hikes on the wealthiest Americans and scrapping Inflation Reduction Act levies that finance energy measures intended to combat climate change.
So, real quick, here's the thing people are going fucking crazy about. Just a little sidebar note for you folks at home. I own a corporation. I make $1 billion a year. I pay my taxes.
And he doesn't even do anything to spiff up the...
It's all hypothetical. Dick. I make $1 billion a year. I pay $200 million in taxes every year. I produce a product where I make steering wheels for cars. You need them. Well, guess what? You want to hike my taxes up to me where I have to pay $500 million a year? Well, now the cost of labor's gone up. Now the cost of production's gone up. Now the cost of the item I'm making is going to go up too, because I have to make up that difference to not just put money in my pocket. As long as I'm turning a profit, I'm happy. Even if it's $1, I'll go on record to fucking say that. But if I have a workforce of 1 million strong, who I pay $50,000 a year to, what's that equate to?
1 million. Jeez Louise.
$50,000. I employ 100,000. Okay, sorry, 100,000. I employ 100,000 people who I pay $50,000 a year to. What's that? $5 million? ? 'Cause, 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 'c times 100,000. $5 billion. So my $100 billion a year company, not billion dollar a year company, I pay $5 billion a year in labor and cost of production. I have to make that money up to cover that at least. Mm-hmm. So now the prices of my item is going to go up, which now falls to you, the consumer. So if I pay less in taxes, that means not only can I afford these increasing wages, but I can still afford to keep my item low cost.
It's almost like you could hire more help too if you have a little extra.
Yeah, I could pay them less, hire more.
Yeah, because also what would happen...
Sorry, guy. I would free up some of the work labor. Like, let's say you're in my factory making steering wheels and you have 5 jobs. Well, if I decide, hey, JQ for you, I'm going to pay you $50,000 a year now, not $100 like I was, to do this one job. Does that seem fair to you? I was paying you $100,000 a year to do 5 jobs. Now I'm paying you half to only do 1 job. Seems fair.
Sure.
Because now you're still making half the amount as work for doing a fifth of the amount of work.
For new hires, yes. That's a whole other, like...
I would hire fucking 2 more people at $25,000 a piece to do the other 2 jobs a piece.
That too, as long as it's $25,000 a year work.
I'm just saying.
But
semantics.
To add on to that, what that would also do, this whole thing, not just that one business, but you'd also, dropping prices strengthens the buying power of the dollar.
Yeah.
So even though this person's coming in making instead of $100,000, they're making $50,000. Prices around everything are dropping, which increases the buying power of the dollar. It's almost like that might drop inflation a little bit too.
Well, you think about it. So here's a little side thing. Somebody said this to me, and it actually made sense. Like, it really fucking brought it home to me. The whole value of the dollar, like, around the world. In America, if you go to, let's say, a dollar store, and you buy one item for $1, it's 1-to-1 ratio. Inflation goes up. Cost of living, all that stuff, the numbers go up. You go to that same dollar store now with $1, and you can only buy 1/3 of what you originally bought. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a 1-to-3 ratio. Or it's a 1 to 1/3 ratio. So now, you can't buy as much as you used to with the dollar.
Right.
You can only buy a smaller amount.
Right.
So that means that dollar only gets you this. Originally, the dollar got you this. Now it only gets you this. Well, when inflation goes down and you could buy more for the dollar, that means that dollar gets you more quantity.
That's why a lot
and
of people...
it raises the value of the dollar.
Not only when stocks dip, but when the value of the dollar is higher, that's when they tell you to invest. Because now when you've invested that money and whatever holds its value and the dollar... the value of the dollar drops, that value still remains the same. So, that's just a little tidbit.
Invest, fuckers.
I'm not, yeah.
You are definitely a financial guru.
No. Tariffs and
Donald
trade.
J. Trump III.
Trump's posture on international trade is to distrust world markets as harmful to American interests. He proposes tariffs of 10 to 20% on foreign goods, and in some speeches he's mentioned even higher percentages. He promises to reinstitute an August 2020 executive order requiring that the federal government buy essential medications only from U.S. companies. He pledges to block purchases of any vital infrastructure in the U.S. by Chinese buyers. DEI, LGBTQ, and civil rights. Trump has called... What?
You just listed off like 20 letters.
DEI, LGBTQ, and civil rights.
A to Z.
Trump
and wingdings.
Trump has called for rolling back societal emphasis on diversity and for legal protections for LGBTQ citizens. Trump has called for ending diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in government institutions using federal funding as leverage. On transgender rights, Trump promises generally to end boys and girls sports and a practice he insists, without evidence, is widespread, but his policies go well beyond standard applause lines. In his rally speeches, among other ideas, Trump would roll back the Biden administration's policy of extending the Title IX civil rights protections to transgender students, and he would ask Congress to require that only two genders be recognized at birth.
Wait, what? At birth? You mean to tell me people are fucking actually at birthing their children, giving them a different gender other than the only
There's
two
people that are not choosing not to mark any gender at birth, and so I'm going to let them decide when they get older. We've talked about it. This is like a few years ago, but we've talked about it.
No,
before.
I remember that, but I thought it was like the baby comes out and it's, yep, this is a unicorn.
No, I mean, to an extent, yes. That's what
But you can't check that
some
box. It's
some
not
people
on
are
there.
doing. I don't know. I don't know what it is now.
Oh, God, fucking shoot the doctor that agreed to sign that birth certificate.
Regulation, federal bureaucracy, and presidential power. The president-elect seeks to reduce the role of federal bureaucrats and regulations across economic sectors. Trump frames all regulatory cuts as an economic magic wand. It's almost like he wants to fucking take power away from the government and give it back to the people.
It's fucking
Crazy.
Fucking crazy. No wonder he's a white Nazi racist fascist.
Right. Trump frames all regulatory cuts as an economic magic
Listen, Karl
wand.
Marx.
No, that's Marxist. That's the left. He pledges. Where am I? U.S. household utility bills by removing obstacles to
fuck.
fossil fuel production, incoming opening all federal lands and exploration, even though U.S. energy production is already at record highs. Trump promises to unleash housing construction by cutting regulations, though, which he did before. He cut a lot of different regulations just to make housing and whatnot cheaper, construction, and a few other things. Let's fucking get rid of OSHA.
Thanks, unions.
Oh. But yeah, here's one thing that I heard that he's at, or, where is it? Oh, yeah. He's got, like a lot of these are clearly defined. Another one is he's making it so IVF treatment is fully covered by either government or your insurance. 100% covered.
Good.
Because by his words, like, so we need more babies.
I mean, I can agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, of course. If someone like can't get pregnant, it's like, oh, we have a way, IVF treatment.
But if that's the case, they should also put in the foster care system, where if you let's say you
covered
are,
by insurance.
yes,
Yeah,
adoptions, foster classes, all that stuff should be lumped in with that as well.
absolutely.
Because there are families that
If not insurance, there should be some kind of government agency. I mean, I know he's trying to take power away and like reduce that, but if we're talking about like a good foster care and a better check and foster parents, because I don't know how, but there's so many stories out there of
crazy
horrible foster parents.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I don't know how, because I've heard, like, you read about the process, I'm like, that's pretty extensive. But I guess you can fucking put on any facade and get around whatever, especially if there's a long process or a lot of people and they can kind of get around it. But there's a lot of stories of horrible foster parents.
Oh yeah.
So if there's a way to alter that, I have no idea. But yeah, so
Actually take some of the background checks they make you do for, like, I don't know, guns and ammo, which are hyper extensive. You got contributing members of the community, Johnny Boy,
Yeah.
who had to wait like a day to get cleared for something.
I saw that.
Yeah,
he
I
told
had
me.
it in like 2 minutes.
He told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, he's got the IVF treatment, and I thought about it. I heard that yesterday, and I was looking. I had to write down this like point. I'm like, during his presidency or during his like what the
Sorry.
it was the debate with Kamala.
Yeah.
When they asked him, it was like, "What's your plans? What are the policies you plan on running on?" And he's like, "Well, we have concepts of a plan." And the fucking the left just ran with that. It's like, "Well, concepts of a plan? What the fuck is that?" It's like, "I've got concepts of this." Like, But then he comes out with this extensive list of 2 lists, evidently, of clearly defined things. The only things he put out during the campaign was, we want to cut taxes on overtime. And what was some of the other ones? We talked about them. No tax on tips.
Yeah.
No tax on overtime. If you look at what he put out there, these are like these fringe outside, no tax on overtime, whatever. He threw those out there. And what did the Harris campaign do? They fucking copied and pasted.
Yeah.
So then I thought about it. I'm like, I wonder if he purposely did it the way he did it. Like, oh, we have concepts of a plan. Like, he already fucking knew what he wanted to do.
Which is why...
But he threw some fringe ideas out just to see what would happen. And lo and behold, if this is the case, Kamala and her campaign fucking hook, line, and sinker is like, oh, yeah, we're going to do that. And then they said, like, oh, we're going to give new parents $5,000 credit for, buying whatever. And Kamala goes, well, we'll give you $6,000. They did it like, what, a week later? Maybe not even. So they just kept taking. And then once everything happened, Trump goes, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And he just fucking has this list of everything he wants to do. I'm like, I thought about the whole thing now. I'm like, boy, what a fucking move if that's the case.
So let me ask you this. What was one of the biggest problems with Kamala's campaign?
She can't fucking talk.
Let's go, all jokes aside.
That's not a joke. She can't talk.
But what couldn't she talk about?
Anything.
What do you mean specifically?
Policy, because she didn't say anything. She just basically ran on Joe Biden's without saying it.
Okay.
At least that's what everyone assumed. Because
piggybacked with what you just said.
Right.
Do you think Trump was aware that this was going to happen from the get-go the minute they announced her? Because, like you just said, he only tossed a couple of things out there. And what did they do? Yeah, we're doing that too. Mm-hmm. If he had laid out all those policies, they would have copied as many of them as they possibly could.
Yeah.
But by not, he's like, I wonder. I got an idea. Let's see if she can sink her own ship. I'm not going to put anything else out there. So I grew up in a middle-class home, right?
Yeah, in the last few weeks, that's what she did. Like, every other thing she would try to answer. Well, let's start with this. I grew up in a middle-class home. And it didn't take long where everyone was just like, this is the same bullshit over and over and over. Like, right from the small Joe Schmoes like us to fucking Joe Rogan and Dave Smith, everyone was like, you don't answer anything. You just start off middle-class home.
She had nothing to answer
exactly,
with,
and that's
because Trump wasn't fucking giving her everything he was planning to do.
That's why.
Wow,
that's what I mean. Like, I wonder if this whole thing, like the whole thing, was just an elaborate. I'm gonna do this. We have concepts of plans. So now, like, everyone thinks Trump doesn't have any idea what he's doing. Then he just throws out, like I said, some fringe things and the rest is history. Maybe not. Maybe it's just like the way things panned out. But boy, I don't know. The way, like, the list he has, everything he wants to do, I'm like, I think he knew exactly what he wanted to do way early on.
I think he knew that. Well, I think this guy, he knew better this time around.
For sure. I mean, just watching his team, watching him assemble his fucking Avengers team here. Like, he knew. It's like, I didn't know anything. And he said it on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's like, I didn't know anybody. And I didn't know who to trust. And I was just going by, these people told me to get that person, to get this person.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know anything about politics. This time around, he's like, not this time.
So, kind of bouncing a little bit, but in regards to the no tax on overtime thing, a lot of, well, I don't know if too many businesses out there or companies that don't pay their workers overtime.
Who could you be talking about? Could there be some letters in the company name?
I'm sure there's letters and numbers and even and symbols.
Are you referring to N Company?
Any company that loves their employees, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've already heard over the last few days, like, probably 24 people talk to me about, hey, if you have a job that doesn't pay overtime, now it's time to jump ship. because no tax on overtime. So a lot of people I know in the industry are like considering looking. Yeah, they're already looking.
Like I said, this pissed me off because all these years, next year I could be salaried. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Well, I'll get it if it's one of those
too, fucker.
If it's one of those day one things, they're like, yeah, that's right. I'll get a few months out of it anyway. But no. New York City food vouchers for illegals.
Huh? Oh, good.
That's gone. That's gone now.
Yes. Oh, speaking of that, really quick too. Another side note, you probably got it in there somewhere. It wasn't even 2 days after he won the election. He'd already spoken to like 5 different world leaders.
Yeah.
Hey, just wanted to say how you been.
That
How's Pookie?
Putin.
I haven't seen Melania in a while. She hasn't posted on Instagram. I follow her every day.
Putin wanted to talk about peace with Ukraine. China wanted to extend their hands, like we work with them, whatever. It's like,
hey, let's try to work together so we could create a peaceful
there's
relation.
a fucking list of like these different nations.
Israel, Palestine. Like,
Yep.
The guy's not even in office. Like, look how great I'm doing. I'm the best president there was.
Well,
I'm not even the president. I'm better at it.
It's not even that. It's like 4 years ago when Biden took over, and they're like, all right, the adults are back in the room. And then the fucking thing turns into a shit show. And now Trump gets reelected back, and the whole world is like, I heard the best analogy was, it's like when your teacher's gone and the sub is in. And when the teacher comes back, the sub left a list. And I was like, you and you, like the whole world just like sat down their desk and like, where's teacher's back? But I'm like, that's actually a really good analogy.
Aaron. Oh shit! I'm in trouble.
It's fun. There's a quote here that says the Democrats learned the hard way that women buy milk and eggs more than get abortions.
Oh.
But talking about reactions. 4B.
Oh, for fuck's sakes!
I didn't deep dive into it, but the skinny is...
Okay, hold on. So real quick, do you know what the 4B movement originates from?
I don't know how they got their name. I just know what it is right now.
Okay,
so if you have history, go ahead.
I do. It started in North Korea.
Of course.
Oh, no, you'll understand why.
Okay, go ahead.
Sexual assaults have almost become more common than the sun rising.
That's kind of like was not Pakistan, was it Afghanistan or something like that? Maybe it was Israel.
With the women, the burqas cutting up. Okay,
well, not even women. It's like men too.
So
like it's fucking wild.
It was most notably recognized in North Korea. What women were doing, they're shaving their hairs,
right,
their heads, and gaining all kinds of weight and not cleaning themselves, not doing anything.
Right.
They're not sleeping with men. Like women were leaving men because there was domestic. See, that's another thing that pisses me off. Remind me, I'll go into that a little bit further. So these women, I don't know what the 4Bs stand for, but
you keep talking about them.
But it's basically, it was a movement to desexualize women, to make them less appealing and less likely to be victims of sexual assault. So because it was working, other nations... South Korean, sorry, not North Korea. My bad. Okay. My bad, North Korea.
Go ahead.
Some other nations took it upon themselves to do the same thing. And it has worked. Women who are truly suffering, or were truly suffering, are noticing a decrease in these violent acts being committed against them.
Right.
Sexually based, whatever they may be, sexual, physical, doesn't matter. They've noticed a decrease. Well, America...
There's no like actual, just quick interject. There's no There's a Korean buy and whatever pictograph they have here for whatever, but there's the actual no. Yeah, it's 4B or the 4 no's. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's just Korean, and that goes with like no, refuse to date, get married, have sex, or have children.
Yep.
Keep going.
So they here in America, women took it upon them, not all women, a particular set of women took it upon themselves, women who were upset with the fact that Trump won the election, took it upon themselves to take the 4B movement to America.
Right.
To Americanize it, to get the country to realize just how wrong it is. Because there's so much sexual inequality, there's so much racism, there's so
transgender and
everything. There's so many bad things happening to women in America that it is comparable to that of nations that are truly fucking suffering.
Right.
Thank you for not reproducing. Thank you for already thank you for making yourself even less attractive, despite how unattractive you already are.
Well, let's hold off on that for a second, but that.
I mean, there's women divorcing their husbands with kids and walking away in America.
There's that. One is the movement they're doing. Like, oh, we're just going to make it, so we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. I was like, well, I think most guys, like, I made a comment. It was on Reddit, and it just happened to come across my feed, the 4B page. So I made a comment. They were talking about 4B, we're going to do this, this, and this, and large threads underneath and support. Yeah. And I just had to carpet bomb comment and kind of left, posting ghosts. And I was like, wow, there's going to be so much stuff that the men's going to get done in the next few months. So, but to go on with this 4B thing, like the whole point of them doing all this is like, they're like, we're shaving our heads and not doing any of this to make ourselves unattractive for the masculine, not even masculine, just the male sex, right? Here's the issue. And I saw this and I had to say this is like, this is a good fucking movement. Now 4B said, whoever it is, her name's Lauren. That's all I got. So it says, to the women shaving their head for the 4B movement, you say you're shaving your head so, quote, men won't want you, but does that mean that men shouldn't want women who have struggled with hair loss due to alopecia or chemo? And it goes, your actions are very selfish, and it's only affecting the women that have struggled with hair loss. Should we not be able to feel loved by a man? Should men not want us because we're bald? You are making it seem like being bald is a bad thing, and it's really aggravating me. People make fun of bald people on a daily basis, yet don't want to be made fun of for being overweight, ugly, etc. I have fought too long and hard to normalize bald women. Us women have hair loss, don't take your words kindly, and in fact, you're definitely making it harder for us to feel loved. So please, before you go shave your head, think of the women who have went through traumatic experiences losing their hair, learning how to love ourselves again, allowing others to love us, and actually feeling loved by others. You're undoing the work bald women have worked so hard on.
You selfish fucks.
I'm like, I read that and I actually got goosebumps. It's like, this is what I mean when the left fucking eats itself. Same thing with Palestine and Israel. Yeah, they fucking crumble within. And now they got these people's like, we're oppressed, we're this. Like, you don't fucking know how good you have it. Charlie Kirk said the best it's ever been put, and the best it probably ever will be put. America is a country where it's so good that even if you hate the people that hate the country, refuse to leave it.
Speaking of people leaving the country,
go ahead.
Dylan Mulvaney. Remember?
Yeah. What about her?
Dylan is in like Peru and finally posted for like the first time in a long time.
Cool.
And it was
but why just like, there's that fucker.
She had to make a quick little dig in there, I'm finally at peace with where I'm at. You know, it's sad I had to leave my country to find it, but, you know, and I still haven't been kissed yet.
Oh my God. Talk about fucking out of touch. Like, completely fucking out of touch.
You're in a country that'll beat homosexuals and transgender people down in the street just because. Yeah. You should probably consider yourself lucky you haven't been kissed
Oh,
by someone's foot.
it's like influencers. Did you hear that, like, overnight when Trump was elected, or he's president-elect, like, left-wing influencers, streamers, have lost thousands of subscribers, like 10,000.
It was like
a whole bunch.
A drought.
Yeah,
Like
a lot of
the water level dropped.
Yeah, like overnight. And my first reaction is I was listening to one David Pakman. That's the first one, like, that he made a post over it. At the end of the post, he was like, "So please subscribe," and he was like begging. I was like, "That's fucking sad," but please.
No, stand to your stand to your points.
It's not even that. It's he was talking about it, and when I first thought about it, I'm like, that could be like bots, because X does it, YouTube does it once a year. They get rid of bot accounts.
Yeah.
But then he was bringing up they were unsubscribing from or canceling paid subscriptions from not just like YouTube, but his, like, I don't know, whatever, Patreon or whatever the hell, those subscriptions to whatever he streams on. Like, they were getting rid of that. I was like, well, that's not bots. Those are actual people leaving. And so he got all panicked, and he was like, I called this person, other streamers, and they're all suffering it. I was like, well, that's probably because two things. You're going to get your small percentage of people that are, we'll say, wake up and be like, this guy's full of shit. It's like if you watch the Weather Channel and the guy's constantly fucking wrong. It's like, you're not going to tune in anymore and be like, well, you're wrong.
Say, fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah, so you leave. The other ones, there's going to be a large group, and they're like, I don't want to be on the losing team. And these guys are obviously fucking losing. So they check out. Or they're just like, okay, election season's over, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because they finally, like, all the bullshit you've been talking about, where we're on the right side of history, is like, well, clearly, no. But, well, I got a couple more things here.
Yes.
And I got one that's The View. Because I can't not have The View. So, this is...
Sorry.
That's all right.
I thought it was.
It would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest defenders is DC and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue.
I saw this.
So one of the reasons Kamala lost was, well, they need to regulate social media because the messaging that got across wasn't the messaging that they wanted. So the clear answer here is to regulate speech, because you don't want wrong speech or wrong think. 1984. So that is clearly...
I'm sure that video was a deep fake. No one would ever say the government should regulate social media.
Clearly.
Definitely a deep fake.
Yeah, but the whole, like, the
cheap fake, sorry, whatever it's called.
I wrote a thought here. I was like, either they're too stupid to realize what just happened, or this is 110% proof positive that they're for complete regulation, anti-free speech, wrong thought, wrong speech, re-education camps, 1984, Big Brother top-down control. Speaking of which,
Leave it to The View.
I love The View.
I love them.
It kind of actually made me a little sad when I read that they're not renewing Karen Johnson and Joy Behar's contract. I'm like, well, those two are like two of the fucking biggest cackling crows on there. Like, I mean, Sonny Hostin's a fucking idiot.
It's almost like they have clip measuring contests.
Yeah, because, like, I'd say probably
Mine's bigger.
Good. I'd say a good, like, 15% of our show is like, and The View said, like, that's a good chunk, and it's fun.
It's more like a...
It's like a fucking elephant trunk.
It's like a wet flop.
But I was sad when I read that. I'm like, fuck. But I guess, what's her stage name? Oh, Oprah, or not Oprah. Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
She's opening some streaming service that's pro women something or other. I don't know. I saw it in
You
passing.
mean Lifetime?
Yeah, we already have that.
Hallmark?
Yeah. But the last thing,
The Cooking Channel?
the Food Network.
Food Network. That's not true. I'm sorry, I'm tired.
It's all right.
I can't even think of the fucking Food Network.
I got this, and first I'm like, well, that's definitely fake.
Pioneer Woman?
That's the Pioneer. Yeah, I saw it, and I'm like, that's definitely fake. But then, like a bunch of there's 2 points, but pretty much 2 points in one. But I saw it, I'm like, that's fake. But then some higher ups started talking about it. I'm like, wait, is this fucking real? Like, there's no fucking way this is real. I'm like, oh my god, pinch
All
me.
right, I'm actually
Pinch me if this is.
I feel like I got a little bit of blood pumping right now. I'm kind of getting excited.
Is Alex Jones press secretary?
Oh, you told me. I saw that. I was like, oh.
I'm like, are you fucking me right now? It's like White House position.
No, you know, because I'd already be crying in the
This
corner.
is from International Business Times. White House position confirmed for controversial InfoWars founder. It's like, with Donald Trump preparing to re-enter the White House in January, discussions are already swirling about who will take the role of the White House press secretary. Tell me that fucking Alex Jones, instead of a Karine Jean-Pierre or Jen Psaki or whoever, having Alex Jones up there with a fucking notebook or just a stack of papers like he does on his show, it's like, I got shit to say. Like, calling out fucking, it's like, well, you said President Trump, he didn't say this. Actually, what he said, but that would be magical. It would go one of two ways, two extremes. It would be a fucking disaster, or it would be fucking gold. There's no in between. Like, he will not be up there. It won't be a regular press secretary. It's going to go one of two ways. Well, someone brought up, it's like, oh, I was hoping it'd be Charlie Kirk or something like that. It's like, what? Or not Charlie Kirk.
Candace Owens.
Nope.
Ben Shapiro.
Nope.
Matt Walsh.
No. Although, actually, yeah, that was one that Tim Pool brought up.
Ramaswamy.
No.
I'm kind of drawing a blank here, bro.
Oh my God. What fucking he left CNN, he left Fox News,
Carlson.
Yes,
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson. I'm like, oh, that'd be a good idea.
I actually had to think about that.
Then
one
someone
first.
said, you know what would actually be a good idea is to have them rotate out the job like every 3-4 months or whatever. I'm like, that would be awesome. Either way, I'm like, no matter who it was, I'm like, but Alex Jones, I'm like, you're fucking me right now. That's crazy. But Trump's first term saw a revolving door of press secretaries, each with a different style and approach. And this time, the unconventional selection process has led to the surprising potential contender, Alex Jones. The InfoWars founder and controversial media figure has made headlines for expressing an interest in the role. Known for his far-right stances and conspiracy theories, if you know anything about Alex Jones, there's a long history. He's not fucking far-right, I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
It just so happens, like us, we just,
gay.
yeah, it just so happens, like us, he is brutally attacking Kamala or Biden at the time. So, whatever. Yeah, but in a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, he claimed, I formally accept the offer to serve as president.
Yeah,
Did you see
a big ass vehicle?
Yeah, he's got 2 fucking assault rifles.
Yes.
I'm like, that couldn't be more American.
America, fuck yeah!
But Alex Jones is big. But another one that maybe not like entertainment is big, but what could happen? Candace Owens has thrown her name in the hat for possible running for president in 2028. Holy fuck. That is like articulate, intelligent. Like, that is someone I'm like,
Actually,
boom, right there.
a black or a biracial woman. No, Kamala Harris was biracial.
Right.
But, you know, they kept playing on the fact that she was black.
Yeah,
even though that
the problem
debunked.
was is she would fucking switch what race she identified as. Like, why
But
don't you
you
just
got a
fucking say
woman
you're
who
both?
can actually trace her lineage back to being black. And she's fucking brilliant. Vance or her, I think, would be...
Yeah, Vance surprised the fuck out of me. Like, when they first chose J.D. Vance, I'm like, who? I'm like, who the fuck? And then when he started off, I'm like...
He used to be Democrat.
Was he? I know he's a never Trumper. I don't know if he was a Democrat.
Well, yeah, maybe he was a never Trumper. That's right. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, he's what, in the Marines. And
Yep,
then,
he was a United States Marine.
And then he's like worked in law firms.
If he actually, let's say he ran for 2028 and won, he'd be the first ever United States Marine to be president.
Or was that? Yeah, nice.
That'd be
I'd vote
historical.
for Vance. But yeah, when I heard that Candace Owen was talking, I'm like, there
So
you go.
The RNC, when the time comes, they're going to have a lot of good choices, and it's really going to come down to who's.
Isn't it something that now, like we go 20 years back, it's like, who do we got to run? And the only names that stood out were names from, like, we got Bush Jr. from the other president.
Yeah,
Hillary Clinton's like, we got, I was going to say Dwayne. I was like, we got Bill's wife. Now, like, you hear the names, and now it's just because now politics is pop culture. Like, now you hear the names, like, I know that person, that person, that person. And the right has all these fucking huge names. The left has one name that they threw in there. I'd be like, ooh, that would be interesting.
Oh.
And they talked, like, one name I heard was AOC, and my initial reaction is like, that would be terrible. That would be another Kamala. She can't handle pushback at all.
She cannot.
The one video of her on stage when they were chanting against her, and she was fucking dancing, like just insulting.
Well,
like,
she had that one meltdown in Congress, or
Yeah.
the Senate, whatever it was.
like she cannot
She
handle.
slammed the fucking book like, bam, 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 na 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 na, bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam.
That's horrible. She can't handle pushback.
No.
She would be a terrible choice. Maybe when she got older, I don't know, but right now, horrible.
Yeah.
The one that maybe raised my eyebrows, no pun intended, Dwayne Johnson. They've approached it before, and he's talked about it before.
Like The Rock.
The Rock. That star power. Like, you tilt your head and scoff, but that star power will carry you. And he's already separated himself from Biden and all that. That's why he didn't endorse anybody this time. He's like, I'm out. Like, he got sucked up in that in the
Yeah, but
first
here's
4
the
years
thing.
ago, and it turned into what it was.
And I really hope I could see him being a formidable DNC if he could really undo the damage he did with Maui.
4 years from now, I think that's enough. 3 years from now, I think.
But that's what I'm saying.
enough
Like
time.
he would have to start. He would have to do something.
Yeah, I think that's enough time. That would be a good pick. But to counter that, like I said, you have Vance, you have Vivek still, you have Candace possibly now.
The Brahma Bull
Like, it's something
in
though.
the
Like,
fucking
you're like,
Oval Office.
what?
Fuck, just give it Hulk Hogan already.
Would that be? There was actually a rumor that Hogan's gonna have some space. I'm like, don't do that. Like, it's one thing like putting Alex Jones in there, but Alex Jones is in the political sphere.
Yeah.
Like, he talks about this shit all the time. He's a character, which would be outrageous, but at least he is in the know. Like, Hogan's a fucking wrestler. It's my childhood. I like loved Hogan as a kid.
You know what we're gonna do to solve world peace?
Yeah, when he's
We're gonna get a ring and
when he's at the RNC.
the Israeli guy, the fucking Saudi Arabian president's gonna be, the fuck's this moron doing?
I'm not the Iron Sheik. But
You look like the Iron Sheik, brother.
yeah.
I nut.
Terry, that's a little racist. You can't. You can't. But that's the fact. Not everybody over here is the Iron Sheik, Hogan.
He's just walking down, America. There's the Iron Sheik. Oh wait, America. You're not the Iron Sheik?
But he does not belong in any kind of cabinet position. Although Linda McMahon, I guess, is going to be there. But she's a fucking politician.
Yeah,
So
she is.
that I understand.
And she's cleaning up her husband's mess. All the shit.
Literally and figuratively. What a fucking train wreck. Yeah. Hogan at the RNC, cool. Hogan like being nominated for something, like, nah, we don't need that. Like, and this is coming
you
from
know
a
what?
huge Hogan fan. Don't.
I really
Just
hope.
don't.
I really hope Linda McMahon does get in with Trump and like in his staff, because she's like, we just made a joke. She's actually really good at cleaning up messes.
Must be. Still married to that fucking train wreck.
Just like the end of this podcast. Derail.
Bye.
But then we got it into the vehicle. Well, I put the tag on before I threw it in my vehicle. Because the last thing I wanted was to, whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, how you doing, officer? What's that tag for in your hand? For the deer in my trunk. Pop it. My deer. Because you didn't tag it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do that.
So I tagged it before I even threw it in the back of the car. And,
How pissed would you be if that?
oh,
Do you know anybody that's happened to?
yes.
Yeah.
Literally dragging the deer out. Yeah, sorry, officer.
Long
feel,
distance.
Didn't feel like doing it out in the woods.
And how long does it take to tag it?
Honestly, if you do it right, 10 minutes. Not even. Like 5 if you have service. Because technically when you tag it, after you tag it, you're supposed to call it
And
right
you
in.
gotta, yeah.
You got to call it in and report it.
You like what? Black sheep.
Hello? Hello?
That's Charlie out in the woods trying to tag his deer.
So, oh, hell no. I at least put the tag on it. I called it in when we got back to where I was going to take care of it. And then the whole skinning, quartering, cutting process started.
You said
But
the Amish do that?
They'll cure
What?
they'll cure the hide for you.
Yeah.
They will.
Because I figured that would. I've never. I can't imagine it's going to be thick. Like, I'm not going to get 8, 9, 10 ounce out of it, but I might be able to get like 3 and 4 ounce out of that. Which that is basically. That's actually what I used to do the first book. It was 4 to 5 ounce leather. It's thinner.
Do you need that knife to do the sheath?
No, if I keep your sheath.
Okay.
Because as long as I have something that's that size,
Yeah.
I don't need the knife.
Yeah. Can I see that again? Did I talk to you about what I'd like out of it, if you don't mind?
No, last time. Well, yeah, the snap.
Well, let me
Or
see.
whatever.
So, what I'd like, if you can, I know you can do it, it's not an if. Obviously, I'd like something similar to this. Maybe a little more, because this was not meant for this one.
Mm-hmm.
A little more contour, because you can see where the knife sits.
Right.
Maybe a little more contour to this.
Just snug.
I'd like the snap here, and then a snap up here.
Both.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Only because this is also crucial. Maybe if you could do a groove up here and a groove here, because then I could actually strap it to my thigh, not keep it in my pant line.
Just going to have it on his stockings.
Yeah, because
Actually, I might have something to suit your fancy right now.
I'll get the boy to sharpen this up tonight or tomorrow.
You'll just use this when you go out there.
That should be good for... It should be good for...
Where's the gut buster?
I mean, uppercut's good enough. But don't, man. That shit, when it came in the mail, it's sharp because it went right through this, and the thing's sharp as fuck.
So you put it in with it. All right, let's put this away.
Yeah.
Before I actually fucking hurt myself.
Oh my god. He sheathes it by putting his fingers underneath the blades where they go in. Safety first.
There you go. So yeah,